There's a quiet revolution happening in retail all across Bangladesh, and it's built on a really fascinating contradiction. You see, brands are finding out that sometimes the stores packed with the most people, well, they aren't actually the ones making the most money. So let's dig into why. Okay, so picture this. It's the absolute peak of Eid shopping season in Dhaka. A big fashion brand has this gorgeous, massive store. It is packed. I mean, wall-to-wall people, influencers are snapping photos. The energy is just electric. But the cash registers are dead silent. Meanwhile, just around the corner, there's a tiny pop-up shop with barely any inventory, and it's absolutely buzzing with sales. So what is going on here? What's the secret sauce? How on earth are these little, nimble pop-ups running circles around the retail giants? Well, the answer is a really clever strategy that merges the absolute best of the physical world with the digital one. To really get the solution, we first have to understand the problem, right? We need to get right to the heart of this retail contradiction. And trust me, the data paints a super clear and frankly, a very surprising picture of the modern Bangladeshi shopper. Let's start with the most basic fact. Over 75% of urban adults in Bangladesh have a smartphone. And this isn't just a phone for making calls, right? It's their number one tool for everything. How they find new products, how they check prices, and ultimately how they decide what they're going to buy. And because everyone has a smartphone, we're seeing an absolute explosion in what's called social commerce. We're talking about buying stuff directly through Facebook, through WhatsApp, and it's growing at a crazy 35% every single year. This means that the real moment of decision, the yes, I'm buying this moment, has moved online, even if the shopper is literally standing inside a physical store. So here's the key takeaway. People are still going to stores. That's not the issue. The problem isn't a lack of visitors. The problem is all the friction in the traditional store experience. The long checkout lines, way too many choices that just stress you out, and this total disconnect from their digital lives. And the data backs this up. Shoppers don't hate physical stores. They're just using them differently now. Nearly half of young consumers are using stores as a personal showroom. It's a place to go, touch a product, see it with their own eyes, and then they go buy it online. The fact that they're willing to hang out for way longer in these cool, engaging pop-ups just proves they're looking for an experience, not just a transaction. And this is where the solution finally comes into focus. To fix that disconnect between the physical and digital worlds, you have to bring them together. And that brings us to this really innovative model called Phygital retail. Phygital is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like, a mashup of physical and digital. It's all about creating one smooth journey. You get that amazing sensory experience of being in a store, feeling the fabric, seeing the true color, but you also get the total ease and convenience of an online checkout and sharing it with your friends. And this isn't just some marketing gimmick. It's actually based on solid behavioral science. It works because, 1, it cuts down on the stress of having too many options. 2, it uses social proof, seeing other people enjoy something to build trust. And 3, it creates this emotional, memorable experience that actually influences you to buy something later on. And this quote just perfectly explains that third point. A Phygital pop-up isn't trying to sell you everything on day one. It's designed to be a really compelling teaser, like a movie trailer. It's a memorable, emotional highlight reel that gets you so excited that you just have to go online and buy the full ticket later. Okay, so the theory sounds awesome, but does this stuff actually work in the real world? Let's take a look at the hard data and some really powerful examples that show just how big of an impact this model can have. I mean, just look at these numbers. They're undeniable. Check out that Phygital pop-up column. People are staying more than twice as long as in a traditional store. The conversion rate, the number of people who actually buy something, is way higher. And so importantly, it's great at capturing customer data, just like an e-commerce site, but it also delivers that high emotional connection that online stores just can't match. It is truly the best of both worlds. So to see this in action, let's look at a global leader, Nike. They totally transformed what their stores are for. They went from being just simple places to buy stuff to these powerful hubs for collecting data and engaging with their best customers. The physical space became a data engine. And the results? They speak for themselves. This Phygital strategy led to huge growth. Their customers who engaged both online and offline spent 30% more. By turning their stores into experiences, they sold way more products at full price, proving this model is incredibly profitable. And hey, this isn't just a strategy that works for giant global brands. Right here in Bangladesh, Erong is a fantastic local example. They've gone beyond just having static displays. Now they bring in live artisans to show you their craft, and they use things like QR codes to tell the story behind an item, really connecting shoppers to their own cultural heritage. And the impact was immediate. Not only did sales go up, but they also created a huge buzz on social media. And maybe most importantly, they made heritage crafts feel cool and relevant for a whole new generation of younger, digital-first shoppers, something their old stores really struggled with. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now, let's get into the how. Here's a practical 6-step framework for any brand out there that's looking to build their own phygital experience. All right, here's your roadmap. 1. Know your goal. Are you trying to build awareness, get people to try a product, or make a sale right now? 2. Design for mobile first. Just assume every single person who walks in has a smartphone. 3. Curate. Don't just stockpile. Less is more. Focus on telling a great story with your hero products. 4. Train your staff to be hosts, not just salespeople. They should guide and educate. 5. Be ethical about data. Be super clear about what you're collecting and why. And finally, number 6, plan for the afterlife. The real money is made by following up with customers long after the event is over. And while you're at it, here are some common traps you absolutely have to avoid. Don't just shrink your regular store and call it a pop-up. That's not what this is. Don't create new headaches by forcing people to download an app just to participate. And please, whatever you do, don't stop talking to the customer the second the event ends. The goal is to start a relationship, not just make a one-off sale. So, as we start to wrap this up, remember this one thing. While all the technology is cool and exciting, successful phygital retail is not about the gadgets. It's about perfect execution and having a really deep understanding of your customer. Let's do a super quick recap of the key takeaways. First, the Bangladeshi market is absolutely ready for phygital. Second, experience and curation are what drive sales, not massive inventories. Third, the real asset you're building is a relationship, a customer data profile. And finally, success comes from taking these big global ideas and making them feel right for the local culture. And that leaves us with one final and maybe challenging question for you to think about. As brands rush to create these Instagrammable moments, it's worth asking yourself, are you actually designing a seamless journey that builds a long-term customer relationship? Or are you just building a really expensive photo booth? The answer to that is what will separate the winners from the losers in the future of retail.